the fact what we have to face with, and we failed to face with it constantly. This is really a new era. The current era is a turning point in this kinology, and we have to adopt ourselves for this fact, and we have to act in that way. Why is it a new era? First of all, this political environment has changed dramatically in the last 5, maybe 10 years. The methods and technology of breeding has completely changed. I will tell you later how and why. And a new generation. We have to face with a new generation, and they have no proper guidance. They exist, they are enthusiastic, but they don't really able to follow something because the guidance is missing. They would love to follow the quality, they would love to follow positive things, but they are not necessarily there. And we are having a completely new professional economic environment. So I will give a few words about it. So, the political environment has changed. Yeah, well, that's what I already said. Yeah. We have to face with one fact: dog became humanized largely, much more than cats or birds or goldfishes. That's why we are having much more problems with dogs breeding than cats or goldfish or bird, because everybody starts to think dogs need to have the same life, the same emotions, the same caring than the human person. And now some people should think what could be good for a dog who doesn't even know that dog. And this is a very interesting and edgy topic which really influences our life. The animal welfare organizations are getting very strong, using, of course, some money from the politicians. It seems to be, and it's a very widely spread idea, if purebred dogs are extincting, especially from Europe, then everybody will go to buy a pet in the shelter. And I think it's a failure to think this, because we are talking about different target groups. These people who are having purebred dogs, purebred is not even a good word, pedigree dogs, are having different interests than the one who is going to the shelter. Why is it good to have a purebred dogs? Because we buy a certain look, a certain size, and much more importantly, a certain character. You want to know many times what kind of pet you give to your kid, what kind of temperament this animal will have, what kind of behavior you can expect from that dog. Political influence is connected to this matter, as I already said, and because these organizations sometimes using or misusing the media very well, much better than we do, I have to tell you, that makes the reputation of the breeders decreasing. So we are doing things we should be proud of. But we are not necessarily proud, because in the beginning we are having conflict with our family. Where are you going at the weekend? We are having a problem with our bosses. Where are you going to the weekend as well? Why you don't come at 8 o'clock? Because my bitch is whelping. So is it popular? No. What about your neighbors? What about your family, as I told you? So the general attitude of us to be a little bit attacked, and we are not initiating, but saving ourselves from the offense. So, and it's explain a lot of our reaction. The pride, the proudness is missing, and we should get it back. segregation from the outer world instead of being communicative and building public relations. It's because of that. We are having a lot of attacks from different area, different field. And unfortunately, our reaction was to close the door because we feel ourselves comfortable inside. And then that's not the way to solve the problem and to spread our idea around the world. We have to be proud, and if there is an attack, we have to be able to explain the answer correctly and widely, not just next to each other during a gala dinner of any shows, because it doesn't really effective. It's not really effective. Also, within the FCI, it's a huge structural changing, because now we are having 91 countries as a member, and also large sections out of Europe. We have to cope with it, how to handle it, how to make it unified. Of course it's not unified because it's colorful. We are very different. And the way to keep the differences and to make it still looks like a brand belongs together, this is a very, very delicate job to do. So the first one, the method and technology of breeding has changed. Purebred dogs as a defined basis for statistics. What does it mean? If an English setter has an epilepsy, it's easy to put a statistic. 3 out of 100 has an epilepsy. 97 is healthy. So, is it a healthy breed? No, because it was 3. If there is a dog without a breed mentioned, called Fifi, having an epilepsy, it's a crossbred dog, or not having pedigree. I mean, it's no statistic can be done about it. So Fifi is ill, hereditary ill, but usually the crossbred dogs, we don't know anything about the statistic they are having any problem, so they are healthy. So this is a very faulty point of view. It's not true. We have to face with that. Purebred dogs are a point of making statistic easily, and it can be explained. But as I already said before, the genetically inherited disease, the DNA test is for the purebred dogs now exist only because breed clubs and kennel clubs spend money to establish them. They send samples, blood samples, DNA samples. They hired laboratories to try to find the gene which causes this disease. It's a lot of money spent. And if this spent going back to us as a gun is not nice, because that's, I mean, it's completely contradictory of our main target. So please be careful and understand the whole system. How is it started? How we know about these diseases and how we try to avoid it, spending a lot of money. Really a lot of money. And as I said, it doesn't mean that crossbred dogs has no hereditary disease, because they do have, but no statistics are available because it cannot be done. Fifi is black and small, and then Lulu is big and white. They're having the same disease like epilepsy, but nobody can make a statistic about it. Also, these new researches and its results make prevention possible, and is based on modern technique, only occurs regarding purebred dogs. And that's an important point. Now we start to do DNA tests, and a lot of kennel club makes restrictions. It means with a special result of the DNA test, this dog cannot be bred from. I can understand that. I can't understand that in many cases we don't know how to read the result. A carrier, it doesn't mean it cannot be bred from, but we have to know in which way or with whom. And we are approaching to the point, because of the many restrictions made by the kennel clubs and breed clubs, by us, because what's happening makes a lot of dogs, so-called purebred, they're born, but they cannot be registered anymore, because some kennel clubs and breed clubs say, we don't give a paper, or we just only give a paper which is visible there. It's not for breeding. So, and as the result of the procedure, now we are having maybe 90% of the purebred dogs registered. We will approach to get 50% and 40% and 20%. And the other dogs will still born without registration. And these born dog without registration will be completely out of our scope. And it will make the situation much worse, because all of these tests won't be used anymore for them. So the result of a too strong action will be contra-selective. Be careful about that. Next problem is the new generation without proper guidance. It's very popular to see in every second gala dinner. We are not having young people in this game. That's absolutely not true. If you've been in a virtual in Leipzig or here or in Budapest or anywhere, the ring is fully packed with hundreds or thousands of young people. Recently, I was handling my dog in one of our shows. I was the only gray one in the ring, and all the others been young people. So this is absolutely not true. They have enthusiasm, but they don't necessarily have real knowledge. Old generation is disappearing together with the deep knowledge, because they didn't find a way how to spread their idea. The only way, I mean, long ago, to write a book. This is not really a fashion and nowadays, and it's not even the tool what most of the young people reading. And the new ones, have a different and really improved communication skills than the older generation. They are on the Facebook, they are on different tools of communication, and they communicate to each other in a daily basis without any outer guidance. They have their own opinion. Okay. Without the guidance, that's what I'm talking about since now 5 minutes. And because of that, the quality has been decreasing. And not just because of that, but the old generation is getting old. And if the quality is decreasing, therefore the demand for the quality is also lower and easier to satisfy. It leads to a negative spiral while everybody seems to be satisfied. My dog still best of breed. Is my dog similar to my best of breed dog 10 years ago? No, not really. But still, it's best of breed. The quality is not bad. Upper arm disappeared. Bad front movement. The head is not like it used to be. But still best of breed. Am I happy? Yeah, a little bit happy. So everything is all right, perfect. It's not. There are always winners, but what about their quality? So this is a question. So the new completely professional economic environment. Once upon a time, when this game all started, mostly in England in the 19th century, it used to be a leisure time activity of wealthy experts. They've been people having a lot of money, having their successful life, and then they decided to, because it was a bit snobbish, and I even able to keep dogs, and I even able to breed them, it makes me special. So that was the beginning of the purebred dog breeding. Now it's a professional approach has been established in the last 20 years for sure, but it's really accelerating in the last 5 years. An overall industry involving dog showing, management, handling, trading, pet industry, etc. Everything is for money. All the stands in the dog shows, the show organization, the handling, the breeding, everything became really commercial. So it means this is an old system which has not adapted to the current era according to its regulations and administration system at all. The only original ID remained, but only represented by the judges, who remain to be amateur by the status. So they have to have the knowledge, they have to be independent. Everybody wants them to be strict and following all the rules and standard and knowledge, learning a lot on their own expenses, and they remain to be amateur. When I'm judging, one day I can have a pocket money to buy dinner a day after, and the handler gets much more money. The breeder sells the dog with a very high price, sometimes in unofficial color or coat type or whatever, because this is fancy. The show organized by a committee for money, and the judge remained to be the only representative of the old-fashioned idea to be amateur, enthusiastic, and knowledgeable. Animal welfare activists could adopt their system better to the recent practice. That's why we are losing the game if we compete. We do not need to compete, but we do compete. And you, if there are some animal welfare activists, you are better in your communication skill, you are better with your administration and spreading your idea. So, chapeau, we are not doing a good job compared to you. We have to know about it. So, because the time is short, I have to show you some possible new solutions for these problems, because more than one. So creating available education and training programs inside and outside of the FCI. So one of the problems, we are getting new countries almost daily basis join to the FCI, which is very good because it means this is really an important international organization, and we are happy when they want to join us because we want the family to make it bigger, more international. But after a few years of contract partnership, they can be associated members and then full members. They are able to create the new judges, the new generation of the judges. And the usual practice is the president of that kennel club become a judge for one or more breeds or a lot of breeds, and then without any guidance, he or she try to educate her or his people to be a judge, but he or she never been educated in this way, only by himself if he was enthusiastic. So now at the moment, a few of us within the FCI board creating an easy followed program for the basic knowledge about dogs, movement, anatomy, its connection, soundness, type, and we want this project to send to those kennel clubs involved, or to put it on the FCI webpage available, because then that person who is the president can explain this for his own people. So even he could show him or herself clever and knowledgeable, but he can pass a certain knowledge to his people, because it cannot be a matter of friendship who becomes a judge, because the next generation has to be established by its knowledge, not by something else. So that's what we are doing, we start to do. I'm involved in this, and I think it's very necessary. Also outside the FCI, as Ramune said, the society around us has to be tough. They have to understand what we are doing. They have to understand a lot of families having a dog, and it's usually appreciated. They love it. Dogs and kids makes you popular if you're a politician. So of course, we all know about it. But someone has to breed these dogs, and we are those people. So at the end of the story, we cannot be very unpopular. We have to be, in a way, popular, even if we are keeping more than one dog, because this is a dog cruelty if I'm having 5 or 6 or 7 dogs, because their life is a suffer. It's not true, at least most of the time. I cannot say there are no exceptions, there are. But it has to be, they have to understand what we are doing, and what we are doing is, in a way, for them, because they are the customers. They are the reason why we are breeding. We don't want to keep all the dogs born in our household. Also, we have to replace our urban legends with real knowledge. That's the reason to make education outside and inside the FCI. We have to, but completely, changing the PR activity and communication inside and outside of the FCI. Circulars are very, very effective official communication, but it's not really a communication of nowadays. It has to be more updated. Our communication has to be able to work in a daily basis. Today a communication, and tomorrow another one, and after tomorrow a third one. So we have to establish a system where our helper, our officer are able to do this, and we have to create a surface or internet or wherever where this communication can be seen by everybody. I do think, whether you like it or not, the FCI doing a lot of good things. I'm proud to be a member of, but we have to show more, much more. We have to show our leadership. We have to show the guidance, strategies, and we do having some, but we fail to show it. We fail to communicate it. We tried hard, so in the last period we hired a firm to make our marketing in a more professional. It was not bad, but was not good enough. So we terminated the contract, and we try to find new ways. Not necessarily easy, because for that most of the involved and responsible people has to agree, and not just agree, but agree with something to do. At the moment is not very easy, but we are going in that direction. And what always has to say, the only way to survive and even improve, because nowadays, because of attacks, many of us is ready to believe surviving is enough. Okay, if I'm not going to be killed today, that's good. Yes, it's good, but it's far from being enough. We have to go somewhere, and we have to make you to understand where we are going, and we have to ask you to follow us. But I'm always saying, if I have lovely ideas, I'm very clever, I'm very passionate and enthusiastic, but there is no army behind me. I'm Don Quixote, and Don Quixote never successful. Don Quixote considered to be a strange person, having some ideas, which ideas are quite good, but then we will not accept it. We and FCI cannot be a Don Quixote, because we are not. We are able, and we have a power to create an army, but of course it's a friendly army to understand to everybody what we are doing, and it's worth to follow us. We have to improve knowledge and let common sense rule. We are failing a lot of time this. Common sense is very important. If we go against basic instincts of the human being, we cannot be successful. We have to accept it, and we have to adopt our rules for that. If you are a little bit dog politicians, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. If not, maybe now it's a little bit cloudy and foggy what I'm saying. More professionally used social media and other communication channels can make us more accepted and even appreciated. This accepted maybe is enough, because we are not fully accepted nowadays, but also appreciated to make us proud again. And because it's very obvious for me, we are not doing wrong thing. Of course, some of us maybe, but as an organization, our target is very clear, and it's not a wrongdoing thing. And the constant question, even nowadays, unfortunately, is FCI an office with 14 employees, or is it an institution? Is it a brand? I do think it's an institution. I do think it's a brand. We have to behave like that, because we are that. And when we are talking about, we cannot do this and that or control something because we are having only 14 persons to work, which is very true, and they are working hard, then it means we have to do something else. We have to create something else to be able to play a role of the institution. Like last time I said, we are having commissions of almost everything nowadays. Scientific, breeding, judges, shows, even grooming. Why we are not having a commission or a committee of public relation and marketing? This is a point we are failing nowadays the most. So we should improve that, and for that we have to choose or appointed responsible people, responsible persons to do this. And it's also important, ending domestic power games, as it avoids taking joint actions, which leads to serious self-destruction. Having a responsibility instead, not instead, but in an organization like this, we have to make a lot of decisions which is unpopular. We have to hurt some personal interest with our decisions, but it cannot avoid us to make decisions, because then maybe we will be re-elected, people will smile at us, but then we don't go that far like we want to go. So this is a point very tricky, very edgy. I don't make myself popular with it, but I think this is very important. The most important thing within this organization is not who are the leaders and which countries are the leaders and German speaking and English speaking and Spanish speaking. Yes, of course, it's a cultural thing. Those are naturally created groups within the FCI. There's nothing wrong with that, but because at least those groups are able to work together, which is good. But generally speaking, this domestic power games is a big problem. And as a conclusion of because the time is over, actually the time is very good. I'm a bit surprised because when I start to speak, I can be very long, but I try to control myself with the slides. New questions cannot be responded with old-fashioned answers. And at the moment, we are a little bit doing this. And I think with all your involvement and even with the cooperation with animal welfare activists, the good ones, the ones who can understand what we are doing and what they are doing without fighting. Yeah, we have to fight. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. A fight takes us further on. But a fight without a good reason, just wasting our energy. and that's what we don't like to do. I think that's the future of our organization, to adopt ourselves for the new era. The answers can be done. As I told you, there are several options, and we have to have the power and we have to have the will in the organization. And I think more and more it's coming, so we cannot resist to adopt them. So thank you. If you have any question.